another call. It has been called for Chris Pappas. We were sort of just waiting to see how long they would wait. They waited until 23% reporting, but he still has a 30-point lead. And so it was extremely unlikely and apparently impossible at this point that Maura Sullivan was going to catch up.
Okay, so mixed bag so far in New Hampshire. Okay, a couple more comments here. By the way, John's wearing a shirt from the last drive that we did, and so we don't make those anymore. Shirt. I know, there's such great shirts. And again, drawn up by one of our viewers.
Yeah.
Did you see the drawing that one of our viewers sent in today?
I did.
So it's a great drawing. We'll show it to you guys on another day, maybe tomorrow night when we do Rhode Island. Because everybody, I think, looks great with two notable exceptions. John Iadarola, for some reason, looks like Barack Obama.
I do look a little bit like Barack Obama.
Yeah, and
which people have said from time to time.
Yeah. Slash no one has ever said.
Yeah. Trump asked me for my birth certificate once, and I was like, "That's not me."
And one of the hosts was driven, or let's just put it this way: a person who's often on air was drawn as a monkey.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes, but it's not.
Some of them were really nailed. Like I thought JR looked just like JR. We'll show it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try to do it tomorrow. All right. Speaking of the members, a couple of comments here from the member section. Finally, Ishakna writes in, finally able to watch live. I found TYT from a clip of Anna on CNN. I watched a couple of episodes after that and joined within the week. That was almost 2 years ago and I've never looked back. Thank you, appreciate it.
Hey, we stole one from CNN.
Okay,
nice.
So that happens sometimes. Connor writes in, watched TYT for a long time. It took me from a teenage conservative to a 21-year-old progressive. Just became a member to show my support. I would love to see Rebel headquarters ask the candidates what they have on about disabled rights. Okay, very good, very important. By the way, tonight we're going to do a post game for the members too after the election coverage is over. So Michael Schur might beat the clock on that one. And one of the things we're going to discuss is why am I named Uygur? You got the Uyghurs in China being oppressed right now. And I want to go back to the Serena Williams story because one part of the reaction to our video there hit one of my pet peeves and kind of enraged me. So I wanted to go back to that. In fact, I wanted to break my racket over how mad I was.
If you do, I'm going to draw a picture of you.
Okay.
Well, we already have this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pictures are just terrible.
Okay. So of course, tyt.com/join to become a member. So John, there it is, and it's got. Hey, one of you guys asked earlier about having Homo Progressives logo in there. And there it is. Ask and ye shall receive.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think it's good. I saw Amber working on that.
Okay. So let me read a comment from a New Hampshire voter who's a member.
Okay.
Chandlery, sorry, wrote in, New Hampshire voter here. I voted for Chris Pappas today solely to defeat Maura Sullivan. Fascinating. I would have liked to vote for another candidate, but Sullivan came here with tremendous out-of-state money and a record of not voting in midterm elections. She's not my choice at all. On a separate note, Cenk's rant on Northeast voting for Republican governors last week really struck a nerve. We're going to need a massive blue wave to oust Sununu. Come on, guys, stop voting for Republicans in the Northeast. So look at what happened with the other Sununu, John Sununu. Oh, I'm a moderate from New Hampshire. I'm an old school Republican. I'm reasonable. And then went on to say and do monstrous things at the federal level. For a while, even at the federal level, he appeared moderate. But as time went on and the right-wing party got crazier and crazier, it turns out Sununu was crazy all along. And he's like, oh, finally I have permission, right? And so he'd go on CNN and say outrageous things even before Trump.
Yeah, so I want to say something about what you were just talking about the voter was saying about the coming in with the huge outside money. And I think it was like, I think she raised $1.85 million for the primary. That is just crazy money, insane money. Imagine the good you could do in the district if you spent it on people in the district rather than trying to represent the district. But that's what they do. And I also saw, we showed a graph on the damage report this morning of independent expenditures in support of Ted Cruz, going back to the very beginning of this year. And in total, it counts $1 million, which I'm sure is a massive undercounting. But it starts at like if the chart's here, it starts at the bottom and like month by month by month by month by month go by until like 2 weeks ago, boom, shoots up. And we know why. Beto O'Rourke down now only one by 1 point in the most recent poll. And it just seems weird that you can just flood the race with money that has absolutely nothing to do with Texas. I get that that's in our system, you're allowed to do that, and in some cases it can be done in a positive way. Like we encourage you to support other candidates. I guess in some way that's the same thing.
No.
Although these are not coming from individuals, obviously.
No.
But the fact that like, what if he wins because some PACs headquartered in DC flooded, $2-3 million in the last weeks of the race?
What do you mean, what if? That's how most of them went.
I know, but I'm saying like in this particular case, because I despise him even more, like you finally have a Democrat in striking distance of winning a Senate seat in Texas, and he might be saved by this outside money.
Yeah.
It's devastating.
Look, or he's just like Drake. Look, he started at the bottom and now he's here. Okay.
He does not know who Drake is.
Yeah, you think that all of a sudden a lot of small donors from Texas who were conservatives got worked up and they're like, you know what? I think this is the time to give money to Beta. Okay, so I'm gonna rush out there and give money to Ted Cruz. No, it's millionaires, billionaires, corporations coming in and going, oh, Ted Cruz will give us everything we want. I mean, remember how Trump humiliated him, and then he begged Trump for his endorsement, and look, Ted Cruz is a perfect example of what these politicians will do for donors. You remember this story? Cruz does not endorse Trump during the RNC, and it's a big controversial move. And I was like, hey, you know what? Here's a guy who I can't stand at all, but a little bit of respect here for having the balls to go into the convention, give a speech where he doesn't endorse the candidate because the candidate was too monstrous and had said terrible things about his wife, his dad, etc. So he then goes upstairs in the convention where they have the suites, where the donors are. And he goes to his top donor, the Mercers, Robert and Rebecca Mercer. In the primaries, they had given him $13 million. When he gets to the suite, they open the door and then slam it in his face, because they had switched and now we're backing Trump. After that happens to Ted Cruz, Mr. Tough Guy will not endorse, starts phone banking for Trump because he's a bitch for leagues, okay? And so that is what donors get him to do. So that's why all that donor money is flooding into Cruz now. They're like, he'll do anything. We could spit in his wife's face, slap his dad across the face, and he'll still serve us. That's why there it is. And that's the donor money flooding into Ted Cruz because he is their servant. They found a nice little servant in Ted Cruz, and that's why the money's coming in. And they realize, uh-oh, Beto might win. Last thing about the donors in this regard, the Maura O'Sullivan fact that John gave you, $1.85 million spent in the primaries, okay? Why do you have to find a more conservative person to put into a primary against progressives and papas, which is, moderate progressive, right? Remember the talking point they use against progressives for years, decades. Don't do primaries. Don't do primaries against our establishment incumbent Democrats because they waste money. You need to save the money for the general election. What are you guys doing? Wasting money in primaries. That hurts the party. And all of a sudden, when there's progressives in the race, they don't mind wasting money in the primaries at all.
$2 million?
It's almost as if the establishment Democrats had been lying through their teeth the entire time.
Yeah.
Almost. By the way, well, at least today, and backing up our member who wrote that in, thank you very much for wasting $2 million of establishment money.
Yeah.
You just flushed that down the toilet. Sad day for you. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.